We're playing a spicy one today. Mono-Blue Storm and Legacy with Echo of Eons and Glaring Fleshraker. Let's go check it out. In front of you is Mono-Blue Storm and Legacy. I actually discovered this deck playing Magic online. I was grinding the Epic Storm and ran into Claudio Bannani, who sent me this deck list through Twitter. Actually, not this deck list. They sent me the shell of the deck list on Twitter because we're not playing their actual deck list today, and I'll discuss the changes in a moment. But before we get to that, let's talk about how the deck works. So you're an Echo of Eon strategy, so you're looking to wheel and deal. You're looking to draw 7, deal your opponent a bunch of damage using Glaring Fleshraker, because every time you play a Chrome Mox, a Lion's Eye Diamond, Mox Opal, Lotus Petal, etc., you get to make a mana and ping your opponent. And by make a mana, I mean create an Eldrazi Spawn token. So this deck is really good at generating colorless mana. Okay, so Echo of Eons draws into 0 mana artifacts, you make Eldrazi Spawns. Got it. You have Tezzeret Cruel Captain as a way to find Lion's Eye Diamond to make the deck more, synergistic, more efficient. I love that. It's also a backup win condition if you need it to be, which is pretty cool. Okay, so now you have this Tezzeret Cruel Captain that also has a 0 ability to untap. We have the One Ring. So when you have a ton of colorless mana through Glaring Fleshraker, the One Ring is a really good payoff spell. It draws a card, you also gain protection from everything if you have to pass the turn. Okay, this seems good. It works with the Tezzeret 0 ability to untap. You also have 1 Manifold Key to find off of your Urza Sagas. Okay, so this seems like a highly synergistic deck. You also have a lot of search with the Thundertrap Trainer, and when you have a ton of colorless mana through the Eldrazi Spawns, it's pretty easy to kick the Offspring mode on this. So I like that as well. And then stock up just to dig 5 deep. The best 2 cards go to your hand. So there's a lot to like here. What I didn't like are the changes. So I cut the Minamo School at Water's Edge for a basic island. Legacy has a lot of Boseiju who endures in the format, and things like Ghost Quarter, reasons to run basic land types. I felt like the deck needed a basic, and I decided that the Minamo School at Water's Edge was the card I would cut. I understand that it untaps the One Ring, I really do, but I value having a basic island in my deck a little bit more. Facing Claudio, I noticed that Claudio had to pass the turn a number of times after an Echo of Eons because Claudio got stuck with only colorless mana. I cut the Grim Monoliths from the deck. And with 1 key, I don't think Grim Monolith is that spectacular in this deck anyway. So I added in 3 copies of Mox Opal because Claudio's list only had 1, and then the 4th copy of Lotus Petal. That way, when you're chaining Echo of Eons and making tons of mana with Glaring Fleshraker, you'll have blue mana to cast your stock ups or your Thundertrap Trainers that way. I think it just makes perfect sense here. So I'm running 4 Opal, 4 Lotus Petal, and then this is a change that many people might not like, but I think it's the right one. I cut the 1 of Paradox Engine from the deck for the 3rd copy of Tezzeret Cruel Captain. I value being able to find that Lion's Eye Diamond just a little bit more. And the other thing that sort of irked me was there's 1 Paradox Engine, but no way to tutor for it. So the only way that you can find it is chaining Echoes and hoping that you can cast it, or digging for it with Thundertrap Trainer or stock up. But there's no way to search for it and put it on the table. You just have to accidentally draw it and hope that you already have the One Ring in play. I'm not a fan of that, so I'm going to vote for more overall consistency in the deck and not run the Paradox Engine. If you want to, go for it. I just don't think it necessarily belongs here. With putting in a bunch of 0 mana artifacts like Mox Opal and Lotus Petal, Claudio's list head into the Floodmaw on the sideboard. I've been so impressed by Boomerang Basics playing other decks in Legacy, where I would like to play Boomerang Basics instead. So with the zeros, Boomerang Basics, in my opinion, becomes better. It's also better on combo turns with Glaring Fleshraker because it, creates more damage. Boomerang Basics actually ends up making mana. So I like the Boomerang Basics here, so I cut the into the Floodmaws, and I believe that's it. So not a ton of changes, just some smaller ones. The deck's core is still intact. I would like to thank Claudio for that. Claudio, I'm sorry that I changed your deck list, but in my opinion, it's for the better. We'll find out if that's true in match number 1. Hopefully everyone sticks around and sees me there.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic.
Welcome to match number 1 with Mono-Blue Echo Storm. We are on the play. And something that I forgot to mention in the deck tech is right now we have a promotion going on over at theepicstorm.com/shop where we have 25% off all of our merchandise, including token packs and then things like stickers and pens and whatnot. So you can go there, type in Storm25Save for 25% off, support us. It ends January 1st. This video should be going live the 26th of December, so time is running out. Head over there, go grab a token pack, support us that way. All right, so we have a turn 1 Echo of Eons here. I do not know what the opponent's playing. I think I'm just going to jam it. I mean, if they Force of Will my Echo, I'll still have 2 more Echoes in the graveyard, assuming that I don't imprint. I feel like I probably will, but we'll see. All right, so we'll play the Chrome Mox, and I think I will imprint Echo here. I don't see why I would need 2 Echoes in the graveyard. Plus, if they Force of Will the Tezzeret, it gives me an opportunity to hardcast one of the Echoes later, having that mana. And they are going to Force of Will the Tezzeret. Alright, so I'll play out the Lotus Petal, and now we'll pass the turn. They play Prismatic Vista. Another Ancient Tomb would allow me to hardcast Echo here. Defense Grid. We'll play it. And we'll pass. So Defense Grid resolved, that's great. So now another Tezzeret, Lion's Eye Diamond, Ancient Tomb. These are all great draws. I would obviously take a Thundertrap Trainer or stock up as well. They use the Prismatic Vista and Brainstorm. They play another copy of Prismatic Vista for a basic Plains. Okay. Be there, deck. Be good to me. Let's see it. Saga. I mean, Saga's not a terrible draw. I get to make constructs eventually. It finds Lion's Eye Diamond. It's fine. Not the end of the world. Were there better draws? Absolutely. I would have taken a One Ring there too. But it's fine. They play a Flooded Strand. A Prismatic Ending my Chrome Mox. Okay. They're not really worried about Defense Grid, I see. They fetch with the Flooded Strand for a Plateau. And they're just choosing to pass. Interesting. So the Saga goes to the second chapter. I'll just pass. I'm going to make constructs. I don't think I need to force the issue here. They play a Ponder, another Flooded Strand. They grab a basic island. Flame of Anor on the Defense Grid. Okay. My artifacts are being destroyed. We will make a Urza Saga construct token here. We have a little 2/2. Now we'll draw another Ancient Tomb. Let's make another construct. Grab a Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll play the Ancient Tomb, and I think I'm going to just attack for 4 here. Swing, batter, swing. They're at 11. Volcanic Island. They play a Murktide Regent. Pretty big dragon. They have 2 cards in their hand. Defense Grid. They do have 3 available mana here, so this would put me to 10. They Force of Will, pitching Force of Will. We'll float 3 blue, and I think I'm going to Echo here. I'll leave a colorless floating in case of Glaring Fleshraker. I'm surprised they countered the Force or the Defense Grid there. So now their dragon is a 9/9. What can I do? I can sink in a Stupor the dragon with Force of Will backup. I'd probably want to play the other Saga because that allows me to make another construct next turn. And I'll attempt to bounce the dragon. They have 7 cards. So it's not guaranteed to resolve here. They Force of Negation. I will Force of Will, pitching Force of Will? No, I think it's the Thundertrap Trainer in case I draw a blue card next turn, assuming I get another turn. Thinking a Stupor. And we'll attack for 4. They're at 6. No end step effect, so no Swords to Plowshares, no Flame of Anor there. Okay. They play Thundertrap Trainer. They find a Flame of Anor. Unfortunate. Okay. They can kill both my constructs here. Another Thundertrap Trainer. Interesting. You didn't want to play the Flame of Anor? They find a Swords to Plowshares. They play a Tameo. Okay. a little surprised by their decisions here. We find another Urza Saga. This saga goes to the second chapter. Play the new Urza Saga. This will put me to 5. We'll try a Tezzeret Cruel Captain. The Force of Negation. Pitching the Murktide Regent. We'll go to combat. Swing. I will make another construct. So they're probably going to brainstorm and flip the Tamiyo here. No? Okay. So we know that they have Swords to Plowshares, Flame of Anor in their hand, so they can clear all 3 of my constructs here. Okay. I'm at 6. Really needed to draw a blue card. Oh well. They're not going to kill the other construct. They're going to draw 2 cards instead. I think they also sequenced this poorly. They should have started on Flame of Anor because I would have gained less life if they had started on Flame of Anor. But instead my first construct gained me 3 life. And they chose to not attack. Okay. Urza Saga time. So before this Urza Saga goes away, we're going to want to make another construct. I'll go to 5. And now we'll search. I wonder if it's just like Manifold Key to potentially make one of them unblockable. Probably is. We'll play the island. Pass the turn. I could play the Glaring Fleshraker, but I would like to make another construct token instead. They play a land, 2 cards still. End step, I'll make a construct. I go to 3. Thundertrap Trainer. So if I make the construct here, I go to 1. Which means I can't Force of Will. I think I'm going to do it. Maybe the Manifold Key was the wrong choice because I don't have the life to activate the unblockability activated word thing. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. We'll grab a Lion's Eye Diamond maybe? Would Mox Opal be better? We'll grab Mox Opal. Go to combat. Wow, what a game. Okay, so we definitely got to grind that game a little bit. That was cool. Do I even sideboard here? Our sideboard has so much like anti-combo in non-blue cards, but we don't really have a ton for the blue matchups. I think I'm going to just send it back. There's not even a card I really want to cut from the main deck either. So maybe that's just fine. So we'll send this back and hope that we do well. Holy Mox Opal, Batman. We have a turn 1 Thundertrap Trainer, hypothetically. We could also turn 1 the One Ring. It's a little all in, but I'm going to try it. They play a Lion's Eye, or I'm sorry, they play an island. I was thinking about my turn. I was like, I want to play Lion's Eye Diamond, I want to do this, and then, you know, words came out. So they're playing a Ponder off of an island. They kept 7. They did not shuffle. We draw another Chrome Mox. Not a very good draw. We'll play Lion's Eye Diamond. Play the Chrome Mox. And I think I'm going to go for broke. I'm going to try to play the One Ring here. Chrome Mox was a pretty bad draw, if we're being honest. We'll play another Mox Opal. And now another Mox Opal. Look at this storm count. The One Ring. They have Force of Will. They exile another Force of Will. And we'll pass the turn. They have 4 cards in their hand. My best draw is likely an Echo of Eons in this spot. They play Prismatic Vista. Basic Plains. Prismatic Ending. Yep. Okay. I guess I'll play the empty Chrome Mox so that way I can play the Thundertrap Trainer here. Alright, Thundertrap Trainer. They have 3 cards in hand to my 0. I think we want the stock up. Pass the turn. I do need 1 more mana to be able to cast it, so like an Ancient Tomb or something would be nice. They Swords to Plowshares on my Thundertrap Trainer. They play a land. They have 2 cards left. Alright, let's see a land here. Unfortunately, we have to pass. They play another land. Still 2 cards. We'll try the Defense Grid. Send it back. They fetch with the Flooded Strand for another Basic Plains. 4 total mana. Back to basics. Well, I don't have any lands. They play a Basic Mountain. Sure. The Lotus Petal. That allows me to play the stock up. I wish it was an Ancient Tomb so I could have slammed the One Ring, but we'll play stock up here. Ay. We're going to take 1 Ancient Tomb. And maybe the Urza Saga? Not really sure. Yeah, I guess we'll take the Saga. Play the Ancient Tomb and pass. Really wish I could have resolved the One Ring that turn. Looks like another Prismatic Ending here. They go after the Chrome Mox. Okay. They have 1 card in their hand. We find an Echo. Alright, so I think this is my opportunity to try to resolve the One Ring. Here it goes. The One Ring. And it resolves. So with the backdeck basics in play, these lands will stay tapped. So I'm sort of hoping that the card advantage from, this was a good draw, the One Ring will carry me here. No reason to Echo of Eons right now because I'm going to have to pass the turn. So I'm going to just wait, and then we can Echo next turn. They play another land. They have 1 card in the 1 ring. So we'll go to 18. Stock up. You know what? I was going to go for it this turn, but I think I'm actually going to wait. We find Ancient Tomb. We'll play that. Play the Manifold Key, I think. I mean, I could permanently tap the Ancient Tomb. That's another option. And then draw 3 more cards. I think I'm going to just play the key and pass. Alright, send it back to you. 2 blue mana. Is this a Murktide Regent? It is, okay. So the Urza Saga is going to hit the 3rd chapter this turn. I'm not going to draw cards off the Manifold Key. I'd like the Ancient Tomb mana. So we'll lose 2. The Saga is going to go grab another Lion's Eye Diamond. Another 1 ring. We'll play Lion's Eye Diamond. We'll make blue and blue. Let's flashback Echo of Eons. I'm keeping the Ancient Tomb mana open for Glaring Fleshraker in case I need that colorless mana. Okay. That was decent. We'll start with Defense Grid. It looks like I'm not going to need the blue mana, so that's my line here. This means that they cannot Swords to Plowshares the Glaring Fleshraker. So they fetched. It could be like in Consign to Memory here. I can also draw a bunch more cards with the 1 ring in response if I need to. And they're going to just let it go. Okay, so let's draw 3 cards with the 1 ring. Beautiful. Okay. I think I'd like to play an Ancient Tomb. Ouch, I'm at 12. We'll play Glaring Fleshraker. Lion's Eye Diamond. This makes a Spawn. They're trying to cast something here, but I have double Defense Grid. So this has to be like Otawara, if it's actually going to work. And I don't think Jeskai Control plays Otawara. So they're trying to do something through double Defense Grid here. They're just like realizing that they can't cast their spell. I'm not really sure. Okay, so we have an Eldrazi Spawn. I think I would like to... I kind of want to spin right now and keep the untapped draw 4 for the 1 ring post spin. So I'll make 3 blue, sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn. We'll flashback Echo of Eons. They're at 14. Another Glaring Fleshraker. We'll play out the Lotus Petal. This will create another Spawn. I can't play the Fleshraker first because I didn't have the colorless mana. So if I play Fleshraker now, it makes 1 mana. And then I would have 1... So this replaces itself. So I basically just go down 2 blue. So that would leave me with 1, 2, 3 available mana, which doesn't actually do anything. So maybe I shouldn't do that. Let's untap the 1 ring. See what my options are first. And now we'll draw 4. Okay, that was pretty good. Let's sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn. We'll play Glaring Fleshraker. This will make another Eldrazi Spawn. They're at 12. Lion's Eye Diamond here is going to make 2 colorless mana, which is pretty sweet. They'll go to 9. Pretty sure we have it. The opponent trying to do something again through double Defense Grid. The only thing that would work here is Otawara Soaring City. So they're at 7. Let's sacrifice some Eldrazi Spawn tokens. We'll play Tezzeret Cruel Captain. This will make 2 more Eldrazi Spawns and ping them. Mono-Blue Storm, baby. And then, I guess for the fun of it, we'll play another Defense Grid just to make sure they definitely can't cast any spells. Here we go. Alright, so it looks like we win match number 1 over Jeskai Control. Who needs sideboard cards, really? Not me. We also kept a hand that was not very good at grinding, and here we are winning on turn 8. That was an impressive match, at least from my perspective. Let me know what you think. And for now, we're going to head on over to match number 2.
Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on Moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks.
Round number 2, we're on the play with Blue Storm. Okay, so we have a turn 1 Glaring Fleshraker. No, we don't. I'm sorry. We can turn 1 Manifold Key. This Echo of Eons on turn 3. We have Force of Will back up in the meantime. I think I'm willing to try this. It's not a spectacular hand, but I think it's probably fine enough. We'll play Urza Saga. And I actually wonder if I'm supposed to hold the Manifold Key. Because if I draw like an Ancient Tomb, I can play the Fleshraker. Yeah, we'll hold the Manifold Key. We'll just play the Saga and pass. I do not know what the opponent's playing. Ooh, I was worried about that. It's not good for me. Okay. Awkward. I regret every decision I've ever made. We'll pass the turn. They play a Volcanic Island, so likely Izzet Delver. I'm going to concede. Shame concede. Okay, that was bad. My own fault. Probably should have mulliganed. Alright, so versus Delver, no changes. I'm going to just send it back. Probably keep a hand that doesn't lose to a single Wasteland. I mean, I didn't know that they were playing Wasteland. Like, if we were facing a combo deck, I would have looked like a genius. But not knowing what they were playing, it obviously didn't work. Alright, game 2 on the play. So I can play a turn 1 the One Ring. I would lose to a Force of Will. Think I'm going to keep it and pray for the best. We'll play our Island, Lotus Petal, Mox Opal, and now we'll sacrifice our artifacts and play the One Ring. It resolved. Sweet. Pass the turn. They play Volcanic Island and Delver Secrets. We'll lose 1 life to the One Ring. We'll draw off the One Ring, 2 cards coming in. Alright, so I can play a Glaring Fleshraker here, but I would get it countered by Daze. Oh, I actually can't play Glaring Fleshraker. I don't have any colorless. About that. Alright, so we'll play Lion's Eye Diamond. And I think I'm actually going to spin here. My hand doesn't do anything. They didn't have Force of Will last turn, so why would they have it this turn? So we'll attempt to spin Echo. I'll play Urza Saga. And now I can play a Glaring Fleshraker. They let it go. I'll play Lotus Petal. We get to make an Eldrazi Spawn here. Sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn and a Lotus Petal. We'll play Thunder Trap Trainer. This triggers. We'll look at the top 4. I already have a Mox Opal, so I'm not sure how good that really is here. I kind of want the Defense Grid, I think. Yeah, we'll take Defense Grid. Pass the turn. Delver's Secrets triggers. Does it flip? It does, revealing a Ponder. They have a Wasteland. Sure. Goodbye to my Urza Saga. They attack. Ouch, I'll go to 16. They play Mishra's Bauble. Alright, so they're going to draw off Bauble. We'll lose a couple life to the One Ring. Draw for turn. Another copy of the One Ring. We'll draw 3 cards here. Let's try a Lion's Eye Diamond. I think I'll lose 3 life and play a Sink into Stupor as a land. And now we'll try to play a Defense Grid. They have 7 cards in their hand. They Force of Will, exiling Force of Will. I will Force of Will back, exiling Sink into Stupor. They have 5 cards remaining. Defense Grid. Nice. So I could play another The One Ring here. Instead, I'm going to just cast Echo. Okay, so we'll float a blue, and we'll play another Mox Opal. This deck is sweet. So they'll take 1, sacrifice 1 Eldrazi Spawn, and play Stock Up. Take Lion's Eye Diamond, Tezzeret Cruel Captain, play the Lion's Eye Diamond, and now we'll sacrifice a couple copies of Eldrazi Spawn. We'll play the Tezzeret Cruel Captain. They'll go to 13. Chrome Mox. This generates an Eldrazi Spawn, even though I don't have anything to imprint, it still makes mana. No. And then Chrome Mox. I could also use the Tezzeret here to draw 4 cards with the One Ring, which might be the move, instead of grabbing another Lion's Eye Diamond. So I'll add 3 blue, and we will flashback Echo of Eons. They're at 11. Another Glaring Fleshraker. We'll sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn. We'll play the Glaring Fleshraker. And this should be a pretty easy win from here. And now we'll play Lotus Petal. We'll use Tezzeret, and we'll untap the One Ring. Let's draw 4 cards. Play another Lion's Eye Diamond. This is a party. Why do we need Paradox Engine? I don't see it. I do not see it. I guess we'll kill them with a Chrome Mox. I could also attack with just a Thunder Trap Trainer. I don't know which is funnier, but we got game number 2. Now we need to win game 3 on the draw. No changes. Alright, game number 3 on the draw. I'm going to keep this. It's not a perfect hand, but I think it's probably okay enough. They have a Volcanic Island and a Delver's Secrets. 5 cards still in hand. Alright, Mishra's Bauble. They look at my top card. And now we draw. Defense Grid. We'll play Urza Saga and just pass. My best draw by far is likely Ancient Tomb. They flip over the Delver, revealing Pyroblast. There's the Wasteland. Alright, 1 Urza Saga is down. They swing. Ouch. Another Delver of Secrets. They have 4 cards in their hand. From Mox. We'll play the Urza Saga. I think I'm going to imprint the Force of Will here. And I'm likely going to try to play the Defense Grid this turn. And I'm going to play out the Lotus Petal. I realize that I get 1 less Glaring Fleshraker trigger, but I don't think that's what this game is about. And then from here, we probably need to draw Echo of Eons. They're thinking about this Defense Grid. They daze. I'll sacrifice the Lotus Petal, and I will pay. Alright, so we are in an Echo of Eons waiting room. We know that they have a Pyroblast and a Volcanic Island in their hand. They did not flip the Delver of Secrets. Volcanic Island is back. Alright, so Echo of Eons is good. Thundertrap Trainer to dig for Echo of Eons is okay. I'm at 13. They play a Dragon's Rage Channeler. Saga will go to the second chapter. Tezzeret Cruel Captain does not help me here. Unfortunately, I have to pass. Delver transforms, revealing Force of Will, so I am not getting another turn. So if I don't draw Echo on my turn, we probably lose. There's 4 of them in the deck, 50 cards. I don't know the math off the top of my head, but, you know, I'm sure one of you does. Each Echo is 8% roughly. So you have, so 50 times 2 is 100, 8% to draw an Echo here? Is that how that works? Alright, let's see it. I think I can stock up to dig here. So we can float 1, grab Mox Opal, and then just trying to think. If I play Tezzeret, I can untap, but that doesn't actually help me. If I play Fleshraker first and then Diamond, I can't stock up. I think it just has to be stock up. We hit Echo, but we did not hit another mana. Oh, that's tough. Would have really liked some mana there. So we need a perfect 7-card hand off the Echo. Okay, no mana floating. We need a perfect 7 here. Draw 7. That is not going to do it. Okay, so we lose match number 3. It was a close one, but ultimately not good enough. And we are now 1-1.
Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game.
For match number 3 on the play. I don't think this is good enough. It's close, but not quite. Mulligan. And this one's unplayable. Yikes. So, turn to Tezzeret. We have to put 2 cards on the bottom. Am I allowed to keep Force of Will on a mulligan to 5? I think I'm going to bottom Glaring Fleshraker and Lotus Petal. We'll play Ancient Tomb and pass the turn. So my thought process here is if they're a combo deck, I have Force of Will. I could always Thundertrap Trainer digging for Echo of Eons, and then Tezzeret Cruel Captain finds Lion's Eye Diamond. We're going to let that go. A lot of blue decks, for sure. So in my own free play, I've noticed that the leagues have been very blue, and more blue than normal. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with the rise of Omnitel and Legacy. As I record this, it's Monday, December 15th, and the Omnitel deck has won the previous 2 Friday Night Legacy challenges with the same 75. And the leagues have had a lot of Omnitel in them. And because of that, I don't think you're really allowed to play decks like Energy, for example, or lands. And a lot of the good matchups for Storm are going away because you're sort of priced into playing blue. So they took the Thundertrap Trainer, Defense Grid, we'll play it. They Force Will, exiling a Brazen Borrower. Okay. They play a Ponder. I do think this deck needs something for blue decks in the sideboard. It feels bad not having literally anything for the blue matchups. I don't even know what that card would be right now, but it just feels like it needs something to get over the hump. I don't know if it's the 4th Defense Grid. Yeah, I just don't know. We draw the basic island. Let's attempt to play the Tezzeret Cruel Captain. I think I'll just pass the turn here. No, I guess I'll search out Lion's Eye Diamond. And then we can play it and plus the Tezzeret. So we'll go up to 2 loyalty. I was trying to think about Orcish Bowmasters, and I was like, I don't want it to die to Bowmasters, but it won't because it's going to gain a loyalty here. So they're fetching with Bloodstained Mire for a Badlands. Wasn't expecting that. Lightning Bolt. Are you like Grixis control? I wasn't expecting Grixis. I was thinking Dimir Tempo or Dimir Reanimator. But this might just be Grixis control. They play a Ponder. We have a lot of good draws from this spot. I would take a copy of the One Ring, stock up. I'd love a Thundertrap Trainer. Echo of Eons. There's a lot of good draws. They switch out Volcanic Island. Baleful Strix, it is Grixis control. They have 3 cards remaining in their hand. Another Force of Will. Okay. Look at my Force of Wills. Now they play another copy of Ponder. They swing for 1, I'll go to 15. Mox Opal, not a great draw, I will pass. We have relevant cards on our deck, I'm just not drawing them. 3 mana here. Is this a Kalgan's Command? It is. Alright, so I will discard the Mox Opal. They destroyed my Lion's Eye Diamond, so Echo of Eons is no longer a good draw. Alright, they're fetching with Polluted Delta. I would kill for a copy of the One Ring, though. Now they Brainstorm. I'll take 1 down to 14. They have 2 cards in their hand still. There we go. Well, hope it resolves. The One Ring. And it does resolve. Beautiful. We'll draw the card now before they can play an Orcish Bowmasters. Play the Urza Saga. That was also a good draw. Pass the turn. And all of a sudden, we're back in it. They play land number 5. 2 cards still in hand. Undercity Sewers. They put Scalding Tarn to the graveyard. They attack. I have protection from everything, though. And now I'll lose 1 life. Urza Saga goes to the second chapter. I'll draw 2. If they have Orcish Bowmasters, I could hardcast Force of Will. Play the Lion's Eye Diamond. And we'll pass the turn. So I can make a construct on their end step. I do have to worry about dying to my own One Ring. We also have an Ancient Tomb in play, so like I need to manage my life total carefully. They're going to swing. I'll go to 10. End step, I will make a construct. So I'll lose 2 to the One Ring. I'll go to 8. Draw for turn. Another Urza Saga. I would like to make another construct here. Grab... I don't even think I want Manifold Key because my life total is too low. We'll grab a Mox Opal. And let's draw 3 with the One Ring. So this will put me to 5 next turn. Here's a Bowmaster. I will Force of Will, exile, Sink in a Stupor. We'll draw 3. Play the Lotus Petal. We'll play Urza Saga. And we'll attack for 6. Hiya. They're at 5. They're going to combat. They will swing with the Baleful Strix. I'll go to 6 life. I guess they're hoping I go to 3 off the One Ring and that Lightning Bolt kills me. I do have another Force of Will, though. Cast the Force of Will. They have 2 cards in hand. We have another Lightning Bolt. No! Ah, brutal. We were so close. Unfortunately, Lightning Bolt kills me. There's nothing I can do here about the One Ring trigger. We'll draw 3. And dead. Ah, that was a good game. I mean, I didn't win it, but it was a very good game. Triple Bolt, too strong. Once again, we have no tools in our entire 75 for the blue matchup, so I just have to run it back. So, I think Consign to Memory is obviously a good card. I wonder if we should have Flusterstorm in our sideboard instead. I think Force of Negation is obviously good against combo 2, so you could try to cut the Force of Negations, and maybe that's okay. But Force of Negation is very good against Prison, where you want to stop Noel Rod, Chalice of the Void, all those things. So I think I would cut Consign to Memory and maybe play Flusterstorm there instead. That's at least my current thought process. Game 2 on the play. This seems fine. We'll keep. We'll play Urza Saga, Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox. And I think I'm going to imprint Thundertrap Trainer. Otherwise, the mana gets really weird. So I don't want to risk not being able to use my Urza Saga. Does the Fleshraker resolve? They would need pretty much exactly Force of Will here. And now we'll play Lotus Petal, Trigger, and Mox Opal. So next turn I can start making construct tokens as well. And I guess the silver lining is I have no hand. So their Thoughtseizes are completely dead. Alright, let's see how we can manage from here. Mana is not an issue. Urza Saga goes to the second chapter. We'll attack with Glaring Fleshraker. Pass the turn. They play Volcanic Island. And now they're fetching with Scalding Tarn. Damping Sphere. I don't think I care. You got it, sure. Why would I care about that? I'm not casting spells the rest of this game. So they'll take 1 off the Glaring Fleshraker when I make a construct, which is kind of nice. They're at 14. The One Ring. I think we're all in on... I actually want to leave open Sink in a Stupor in case they do something bad. So I'll make another construct. They'll take 1 off that. Alright. And now... I think the play's like another Lotus Petal or something. I mean, I could grab the Manifold Key, but yeah, maybe the play's just the key here. And now we'll attack for 8. Okay. They're at 5. They play Polluted Delta. Now they're at 4. For a Badlands. 3 mana. For a Bargoyf. Their own Damping Sphere is going to stop them from casting Force of Will in this spot. Just beautiful deck building. Nope, you can't Force of Will. Nice Damping Sphere. Sorry. Nice try. Womp womp. Alright, we win game number 2. Let's run it back. Game 3, this seems fine. We'll keep. I'm not in love with this hand. We do obviously need a payoff. I'm well aware of that. But I think it's probably okay enough, and hoping that my draw steps get us the rest of the way. They have a first turn Polluted Delta, Mox Opal, play the Ancient Tomb, and let's try Defense Grid. Defense Grid resolves, we'll play Lotus Petal. So, Grixis Control probably has the card Hymn to Torok in it, so I'm going to choose to play out all of my cards. We also saw Damping Sphere, so you're only punished by holding cards in your hand in this matchup, so I'm not going to do that. And then we'll minus the Tezzeret. I don't think we need another Lion's Eye Diamond, so I will grab a Lotus Petal, play out the Lotus Petal, and then pass the turn. Okay. Echo of Eons Waiting Room once again. They search out Undercity Sewers to surveil. They kept the card on top. They play Volcanic Island. They kill my Tezzeret. Rude. Okay. Well, we drew another. We'll play Tezzeret Cruel Captain. And I'll just pass the turn. I don't see a benefit to using the minus ability anymore, because I already have 4 mana in case I draw the One Ring. Damping Sphere, so this is going to make my Ancient Tomb worse. They play a Swamp. Sure. We drew the Manifold Key. We'll play the Manifold Key. This will pump up the Tezzeret. Pass. So if I can get 2 more artifacts before they can kill the Tezzeret, we could ultimate. They play land number 4. 3 mana for a Bargoyf. I do have the Otawara to help protect the Tezzeret. It's just, I don't know if that's a real plan for me here. We'll play the Mox Opal. This gets me up to 6 loyalty, but I think we're still short. So I could tap this for blue, and now we'll bounce the Bargoyf. Wait, does it cost 4? I thought it cost 3 because I have the Tezzeret. Oh, legendary creature. It's not legendary permanent. Yikes. So I'd have to sacrifice the Lotus Petal. Okay. I don't love that, but here we are. Like, I don't think there's an artifact I could draw that would get me to the Tezzeret Ultimate next turn. Like, it would have to be, like, One Ring, and then sack the diamond and spike another artifact off 1 draw. Echo of Eons. Defense Grid. That gets me to 7. Ooh, no, this does work. This does work. I was thinking that I had to plus the Tezzeret, but that's just foolish. We'll ultimate the Tezzeret. Okay. We'll put 3 +1/+1 counters on a Defense Grid. I don't think I need double Defense Grid, so if they kill 1, I think that's okay. We'll pass the turn. 3 mana here. Algin's Command. Meltdown. No! Wow. I just got blown out of the water. GG to me. That was insane. They had another Bargoyf too. And a Harbinger of the Seas. I've seen enough. That was nuts. What a meltdown. I thought that I was about to turn the corner. I'd like to see my next few draws. So Trainer I could have cast. Did it hit on Echo? It's not going to let me see the final card. Yeah, sometimes you get blown out of the water. That was a really sweet match though, I have to say. I enjoyed it despite losing. We're now 1-2. The Gold Sabertooth times the Epic Storm collection has arrived with 3 full-size tokens showcasing the beloved Dark Ritual, CDH Rogsai, and Legacy of the Epic Storm for just $5. On the backs of these tokens, there's a place for my signature or a custom message. In addition to these sweet tokens, a friendly reminder that all orders that ship from theepicstorm.com also come with a signed Storm token from yours truly. We're back at it for the 4th match. On the draw, I will keep. This is an interesting hand. I'm not really sure the direction that we're going to go. It kind of depends on what the opponent does on turn 1. If they're a fair blue deck, I'm probably going to imprint this Force of Will to Chrome Mox. And once again, we're facing blue. It could be Omnitel, Echo. Well, we could Echo, but then we can't protect it with the Force of Will. That's sort of an issue. I think my game plan has changed a little bit. I'm less concerned with casting this Glaring Fleshraker, so I'm going to imprint the Sink in a Stupor. We'll play the Diamond, and then Mox Opal Thundertrap Trainer. Okay, let's play Thundertrap Trainer. Hopefully we find a defense grid. Thundertrap Trainer resolves. I think it's the second copy of Echo. Maybe it should be the stock up. We'll take stock up. I don't have mana to double Echo anyway, and if I do draw the mana, I think I'd rather stock up. They play a Flooded Strand. This is sort of what I was talking about earlier with Omnitel is condensing what Legacy is about at the moment, where I feel like you sort of have to play a blue interactive deck in order to compete with it. I'm not calling for bans. I'm really not. I'm just saying that Legacy as a whole has not figured out the Omnitel deck yet. And it's forcing people to play more controlling piles. Okay, so another land here. We find our own third mana source. We'll attack with a Thundertrap Trainer. We'll play the Otawara Soaring City. Let's try stock up. It resolved. Wow. So we'll take... I definitely want the One Ring. I guess Sink into Stupor. I thought about taking the Lotus Petal or the Thundertrap Trainer, but I like that Sink into Stupor is land number 4 for the One Ring. It's also a blue card for Force of Will. We'll see. They fetch with the Scalding Tarn for another basic island. Another Brainstorm. They play Misty Rainforest. They fetch for a third island. Are you playing High Tide? What's going on here? Okay. Jace the Mind Sculptor. You got it, friend. You wanted Jace the Mind Sculptor. You've got Jace the Mind Sculptor. Don't let me stop you. Alright, they have 5 cards in their hand. We draw another Force of Will. Let's play Sink into Stupor as our 4th mana source. And we'll play the One Ring. They Force Will, exiling back to basics. I will Force Will back, exiling stock up. The One Ring. It resolves! I think I'm going to take my chances on spinning with Echo of Eons here. I think if they had another Force, they would have countered the One Ring. And now I'll draw off the One Ring. We'll play a Lotus Petal. And let's attack them. Pass the turn. They play Scalding Tarn. They Brainstorm with Jace the Mind Sculptor. Interesting, they did not fetch before casting the Ponder. I would have fetched there, but I don't know what the top of their deck is, or if they're trying to hide a card on top for some reason. It's interesting that they didn't use the Scalding Tarn, though. And now they're passing the turn with 8 cards in hand. Spell Snare being discarded. Pretty good when I'm trying to cast Double Defense Grid this turn. Okay, so we'll begin by playing Urza's Saga. And let's play a copy of Defense Grid. Another Spell Snare. We'll let this one go. How about another Defense Grid? They Force Will, exiling Brainstorm. I'll draw 2 cards with the One Ring in response. We did not find a Force of Will. Alright, Defense Grid is countered. We'll play Mox Opal. Keep the new one. Let's try a Tezzeret Cruel Captain. Our opponent has 4 cards still in hand. That resolves. I would like to untap the One Ring. Let's draw 3. There's a Force of Will. We'll play another Lion's Eye Diamond. Tezzeret gets a little bit bigger. And I guess I'll attack with the Thundertrap Trainer once again. Swing. They fetch with Scalding Tarn. They're down to 10 life. Another basic island. They Brainstorm with the Jace the Mind Sculptor. They play a Flooded Strand. 5 cards in their hand. Alright, so I'll lose 3 life to the One Ring. We'll draw for turn. Urza's Saga goes to the second chapter. Let's draw 4 cards with the One Ring. And now we'll untap the One Ring. Draw 5. Whee! Okay, and let's play a Defense Grid. Why not? Our opponent casts a Snapcaster Mage. Sure. I guess I'll make them tap mana here before I Force of Will. And I will Force of Will their Spell Snare. Exile Thundertrap Trainer. They fetch with Flooded Strand in response, down to 9 life. Another Snapcaster Mage. Sure. This deck is like straight out of 2013. Spell Snare's back. We'll Force of Will. Exile Thundertrap Trainer. Does my Defense Grid resolve? It does. Yay. Okay, so now we will play Glaring Fleshraker. Play Ancient Tomb. Play a Mox Opal. So they'll take some damage here. We'll keep the new Mox Opal. Let's auto-yield to that trigger. I don't want to have to deal with it. Sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn. We'll play Glaring Fleshraker. Go down to 6. We'll play Lotus Petal. This will create 2 more Eldrazi Spawns. They're at 2. And they concede. Nice. Alright, so we've taken game number 1 from another blue deck. Let's see if we can get a post-board game. Just send it back. We're pretty much playing with a 60-card deck this league. Have not used our sideboard once. Unfortunate. Game number 2, we've opened up a hand that is just not good enough. We have to send this one back. Okay. I think it's fine enough. We'll get rid of the Lotus Petal. I wonder how good Construct Beatdown is against, like, 2013 Control. Ooh, Ancient Tomb was a very good draw. Hi-oh. Okay, so we did see Back to Basics. That's probably their answer. So we just have to hope they don't have Back to Basics, I guess. They play Misty Rainforest. We draw another Sink into Stupor. I am regretting bottoming the Lotus Petal now, but I didn't know my draws were going to be perfect. Are you going to consign to memory my Urza Saga here? Looks like the answer is yes. Okay. So we'll play another Urza Saga, pass the turn. They play land number 3, Meddling Mage, sure. And they name Glaring Fleshraker. You got it. Okay, so now we have some Urza Saga triggers. We draw Defense Grid. So the first one to resolve will be the new Saga trigger, and then we'll tap this land for a colorless. I kind of just want to grab a Chrome Mox here. And we'll imprint a Sink into Stupor. Play the Ancient Tomb. Defense Grid. Looks like they might have a Spell Snare. And they do. Okay. So you might be saying, why didn't you grab Lion's Eye Diamond? Well, I have this other Urza Saga that can grab the diamond next turn. And if I could resolve the Defense Grid that turn, it means that maybe I could still combo out and win. And I was interested in trying that. They do not attack with the Meddling Mage. They grab another land. Snapcaster Mage, okay. And they target Ponder. Sure. They shuffled pretty quickly on that Ponder. I enjoy that. So we'll make a construct. And now Urza Saga goes to the final chapter. I'll make another construct here. I go to 16. We'll grab Lion's Eye Diamond. They have 2 cards left in their hand. Play Sink into Stupor as a land. And I'll swing. If they want to trade both their creatures for my 1 construct token, I think I'm fine with that. They do not. Alright, so pass. They play Jace the Mind Sculptor. I'm guessing they're going to use the unsummon ability here, and they do. Sure. 2 cards still remain. Draw a Lotus Petal, we'll play it. I will cast Stock Up. So, I have not played a land. I could go land into the One Ring, so I could take the Ancient Tomb, go to 12, play One Ring. Or I could take the Lion's Eye Diamond and, like, Ancient Tomb and try to Echo with a ton of mana floating. So if I take the One Ring, it probably sets me up for better success. We'll do this. We'll play the Ancient Tomb, play the One Ring. And they had a Force Will, they didn't use it on the Stock Up. Interesting. We'll attack the Jace the Mind Sculptor. They're going to double block. Okay, sure. We'll kill both. They have no hand. I think I'll pass. So you could Echo here with no mana floating. They're going to draw 1 card per turn. Then they can Brainstorm. So they'll end up with 2 cards in hand out of their top 4 cards. So if they have a piece of counter magic, we have a second Echo anyway. So I'd rather wait a turn and double Echo if I have to. So I'll go to 9, I'll play my land, use blue off the Lion's Eye Diamond, go to 7, let's Echo of Eons. They have 2 cards in their hand. Okay, could have been better. Let's try Stock Up, Lion's Eye Diamond and Urza Saga. Let's try Tezzeret Kroll Captain, see if this resolves. They Force Will, exiling Jace the Mind Sculptor. I will pass the turn. My life total is pretty low, I'm at 5 right now. They Brainstorm with the Jace the Mind Sculptor. They play land number 5, 6 cards still in hand. They play another Meddling Mage. Okay. They name Glaring Fleshraker once again. Back to basics. That one hurts. Okay. They have 4 cards remaining. We hit another Tezzeret Kroll Captain. I'll play Urza Saga. Let's try Tezzeret Kroll Captain, see if this resolves. Another Force of Will. Play Lotus Petal. Lion's Eye Diamond. Let's spin the wheel. Back to basics is an issue. I cannot play Glaring Fleshraker due to Meddling Mage. I think I'm going to just pick this one up. We did not win. I'm not going to waste any more of my clock. We can go to game 3. I'm going to just send it back. Like, we saw Meddling Mage, but I don't think I actually want Dismember. Our deck doesn't, like, not having the ability to play Glaring Fleshraker didn't really matter. What did matter was the fact that Consigned to Memory on my Urza Saga happened the first time, because I think otherwise we would have overwhelmed them with construct tokens. Game 3 on the play. Well, we have a turn 1 Echo that we would probably lose if it gets forced. And what is the gain here? So like we gain a Mox Opal? I don't think that's good enough. Really? I think we're going to 5. I guess we're keeping. I can bottom stock up Sink in a Stupor, and I can echo through a Force of Will here because I can double echo. Alright, we're keeping Sink in a Stupor, stock up on the bottom. The opponent mulligan to 6. Lion's Eye Diamond. Lion's Eye Diamond. And now we're going to make a bunch of blue mana. Flashback Echo of Eons, floating 3 blue. It resolves! We will try a Glaring Fleshraker here. That resolved. We'll play Lotus Petal. Make an Eldrazi Scion. Okay, now a Mox Opal. Make another Eldrazi Spawn. Not Scion, but Eldrazi Spawn. The Mox Opal is not active yet. I'm going to go for broke here. Let's play a Tezzeret Cruel... Actually, I should keep one of the... Because if this gets Force of Will, then it matters. So let's keep the extra spawn around. Tezzeret Cruel Captain. And then I'll use the minus ability. We'll grab Manifold Key. Sacrifice. We'll play the key. Because now it gives me Metalcraft. And I can play the One Ring, draw, and then untap it in the same turn. So now we'll tap for mana. Now we'll play the One Ring. And I get another spawn. They're at 15. Please resolve, and it does! Wow, what a turn. Mulligan to 5. Here we are. I'll draw a card. Play a Lion's Eye Diamond. Oh, baby. Off to the races. Tezzeret's already back up to 4 loyalty. We'll untap the One Ring. Draw 2 cards. Unfortunately, we have to pass the turn. With 8 permanents in play. Shame. Our opponent plays Flooded Strand. For a basic Plane Swords to Plowshares on my Glaring Fleshraker. We lose 2 life to the One Ring. We draw another Tezzeret Cruel Captain. We'll draw 3 cards now. Let's untap the One Ring. Draw 4 cards. Another Glaring Fleshraker. We'll play Urza Saga, I think, because I want the ability to start making constructs. I'll play Glaring Fleshraker. Sacrifice the spawn. We'll untap the One Ring. Draw 5. Hopefully some zeros. There we go. Mox Opal. Oh no. Gotta float mana. Okay, it let me float mana. That's good. Alright, and now we'll make another blue, play another Mox Opal. They're at 12. Play the new Mox Opal. So I could play another Tezzeret here. Like, why do I need Paradox Engine? Tezzeret does everything. We'll play another Tezzeret. Cost 2 mana. Essentially, we'll keep the new one. Untap the One Ring. Draw 6. Play a Lotus Petal. This is great. Look at all those zeros. Is this what you wanted for Christmas right here? Let's go. Lion's Eye Diamond. Play a Chrome Mox. We'll imprint Thunder Trap Trainer, I guess. Play another Chrome Mox. They go to 5. We'll imprint an Echo of Eons, I guess. Sacrifice some Eldrazi Spawns. Like, I do not think you need Paradox Engine. Like, what does Paradox Engine do here that these Tezzerets aren't doing? We'll keep the new Tezzeret. Untap the One Ring. Draw 7. Oh no. Alright, so I guess we'll play a Defense Grid or 2. They're at 3. We'll play another Defense Grid just to make sure we're defended. They go to 2 life. Play a Lion's Eye Diamond. And another copy of the One Ring. We did it. We beat a blue deck. We've actually done it once already, but now we've done it twice. We're 2-2. Let's try to get the final match and finish this with a positive record.
Want early access to articles at theepicstorm.com? Become a member of our Patreon to get articles 7 days early, on top of other sweet benefits, and help us pay our website team. You can sign up at patreon.com/theepicstorm.
Match number 5, we're facing Romario Vidal. I know Romario personally, has a great podcast, Legacy Small Talk with Michael Reed. Go check that out. And I told Romario, bad luck, no fun in the chat. Obviously, I'm kidding. Romario leads off with Windswept Heath for a Bayou. Noble Hierarch, okay. The One Ring. We'll play Ancient Tomb and Defense Grid. Play a Lotus Petal. I'm worried about a turn 2 Collector Oof, but there's not a whole lot I can do about that here. So we will pass the turn. So I guess, like, if they are playing Cradle Control, I could have gone turn 1 stock up off Lotus Petal and prayed to hit exactly Lion's Eye Diamond plus Echo of Eons, but I'm not sure if that's a responsible thing to do. Well, there's the Echo. So I could just play the One Ring. That is a possibility here. But that makes me even weaker to Collector Oof. If they go Natural Order into Collector Oof, I'll play the stock up. Tezzeret Cruel Captain gets the Lion's Eye Diamond here. Grab Sink in a Stupor. Play the Ancient Tomb. I think like echoing with no mana floating means I'm more likely to lose. So I'll play the Tezzeret Cruel Captain. Minus the Tezzeret. We'll search out Lion's Eye Diamond, and then we'll play it. Please do not Collector Oof me. Pretty please. Just do something I don't care about and pass the turn. That would be great. Alright, Verdant Catacombs for a Dryad Arbor. It is a Gaia's Cradle. The world is their oyster. They have 1,000,000 mana. They attack for 2. My Tezzeret Cruel Captain is going to go to the graveyard. Ouch. 1,000,000 mana. What can you do with it? Hopefully nothing. Fiend Artisan, 1 card left. A good sign. Okay. Glaring Fleshraker. Let's play that. But they have Collector Oof next turn. So we want to do something now. I'll play Sink in a Stupor as my land for the turn. I'll go to 7. Float a blue. And let's draw 7 off of Echo of Eons. Whoops, cancel. I would like to keep a colorless floating. Just in case I want to start the turn with another Glaring Fleshraker. I probably won't, but 2 blue should be plenty. That could have been better. So we'll play the Lotus Petal. I'm not even sure what I'm supposed to do here. Because if I Sink in a Stupor, they have Sylvan Safekeeper to protect the Fiend Artisan that gets the Collector Oof next turn. I think I just play the Thundertrap Trainer. Not even sure what a good hit looks like here. My hand is so bad. Stock up, okay. I don't like that we're putting a Lion's Eye Diamond on the bottom, though. Lion's Eye Diamond, Echo of Eons, let's see it. Ah, the Lion's Eye Diamond needed to be up a little bit higher. So, what do we even take here? Because we have to assume they're going to grab Collector Oof. So, like, the Lotus Petal's not that great. Makes another blocker. Yeah, I guess that's the move. We'll play out the Lotus Petal. Pass the turn. End step, they tap for 5 mana to hardcast an Endurance. They play Ignoble Hierarch. Another Birds of Paradise. I mean, I'm also just dead to Craterhoof Behemoth. They play another Fiend Artisan. Tapping Gaia's Cradle for 10 green mana. I mean, it's not a blue deck. We should be pretty happy about that. And we are dead to Natural Order. Okay. We get to use our sideboard in at least one matchup. That's fun. Okay, so going to sideboarding. We want Boomerang Basics. We want the Dismembers. We don't need Defense Grid. There's some argument of, like, do you even want Force of Will? I'm not sure if we do. I think you're actually just better off, like, bouncing or dismembering a Collector Oof than trying to Force of Will. And then we'll bring back in 1 Defense Grid to protect us from, like, Surgical Extraction, Endurance, and Force of Vigor. Or is 1 Force of Will better? Okay, game 2 on the play. Turn 1 stock up. The issue is that the rest of this hand is not good. I think I'm going to keep it, but I don't love it. We'll play Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, and stock up. We'll take the Echo and... oh, geez. The rest of this is so bad. I need a blue mana. The Manifold Key, because it gets me a little bit closer to Metalcraft. Pass the turn. That was not a very good stock up. I thought for sure we'd at least find a blue mana, either from like Sink in a Stupor or Chrome Mox. They Green Sun Zenith for 0. So that tells me that they probably have another. Dismember. Pass the turn. They play Basic Forest, Birds of Paradise, and Collector Oof, naturally from hand. We're going to lose 6 life here. And I will kill the Collector Oof. I'm at 12. Alright, Lion's Eye Diamond. Lotus Petal. Better than nothing. We'll play it. Play Manifold Key. The Lotus Petal. And let's Thundertrap Trainer digging for Lion's Eye Diamond. Trigger. We'll take another Dismember. Pass the turn. They have a Gaia's Cradle. They have 4 cards in hand. They have to have something. Apparently not. Is this a Force of Vigor? I don't like this pause. Yeah, it's a Force of Vigor. No! Brutal. Yep. We find Urza's Saga. Pass the turn. I suppose I could Thundertrap Trainer here. Let's turn off the auto yields. Swing for 1. Ouch. And then we'll sacrifice the Lotus Petal. We'll play the Thundertrap Trainer, digging for lines. Excuse me, digging for Lion's Eye Diamond. We did hit. We'll add 3 blue. And we'll flashback Echo. Play the Chrome Mox. Imprint Force of Will. We'll play Glaring Fleshraker. And I think I just want to pass the turn. So I could play out Diamond, but Diamond plays into me just like getting destroyed. Ooh, Snuff Out. Just getting destroyed by Force of Vigor, and I didn't want that to happen. So now they Thoughtseize. They probably take the stock up here. And they do. They play Ignoble Hierarch, another Hierarch. And I'm going to take some beating down here from a Birds of Paradise. Ouch. I go to 6. That's an angry bird. Saga goes to the second chapter. I guess we'll play Diamond Opal. Play the Ancient Tomb. And pass the turn. So I could Otawara my own Thundertrap Trainer to dig for an Echo next turn. They attack with the bird again. I'll go to 4. Okay, so this puts me to 2. So these Ancient Tombs are pretty much dead. I'll bounce my own Thundertrap Trainer. If they have another Snuff Out, I get destroyed here. And they do. Unfortunate. Okay. Mox Opal does not get the job done. And I died to a Birds of Paradise beatdown. Oh no. Alright, so this league did not go as well as it could have. When I faced the deck, it seemed super powerful, which is why I wanted to record with it. I realized that I changed some cards. Cutting Paradox Engine, I would do all over again. I don't feel like I actually missed Grim Monolith that much. You can let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. I do feel like the extra blue sources in Mox Opal, Lotus Petal, and Chrome Mox helped. Actually, I didn't add any Chrome Mox. I only added in Opals and Petals, but I liked the list. I just think that the sideboard is a little bit wrong. Like, I'd run back the same 60. No changes. The sideboard, we don't have anything for blue decks. Like, that feels like a pretty big mistake to me. And then versus Cradle Control, Echo is your best card, but our Echo's never converted, which felt a little bit bad. So I'm not sure what I would do there. I liked having Boomerang Basics and Dismembers. So I'm not sure if it's just a draw better situation or if I should change anything. Let me know what you think. Thank you to Claudio again for providing the initial shell. My apologies that I didn't do super well, and then I changed your list, but hopefully everyone enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Really, thank you for watching. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Go to theepicstorm.com/shop. Use code STORM25, save for 25% off all of our merchandise there. There will be a comment in the comment section down below with a link to all of our merchandise and the promo code. Just scroll down, click that, and apply. Thanks for watching, really. Have a great day. Keep storming. You know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you enjoyed the deck list in today's video, go to the comment section, check out that pinned comment where you will find 2 links. One for TCG Player, so you can buy the deck, and the other is so that you can rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Card Hoarder is the best rental service for Magic Online. They truly make playing online extremely affordable. Go check out Card Hoarder today.